Danny, we're coming to you from the TD Comfort Zone at the TD Toronto Jazz Festival, Day 1, and we are so excited to bring you our very first guest during the 30th anniversary of this classic summer event. Let's track it a little. You got a lot of respect for your knowledge of the Great American Songbook. We think about Broadway standards, Gershwin, Bernstein, Berlin, Carmichael, Porter. Your dad was a Broadway composer. Your mother was a Grammy Award-winning vocalist. Was your vocation obvious from the beginning?
There was never a time that I didn't play the piano, and there was never a time when music wasn't the most central and important thing in my life. So.
And were Mom and Dad instrumental in that? Did they ask you to get involved with music, or did they say, do what you got to do?
Well, my father was always composing at the piano. He was the Broadway composer Moose Charlap, most famous for most of the songs from the Mary Martin production of Peter Pan. Songs like I'm Flying, I Got a Crow, I Won't Grow Up, Tender Shepherd, and lots of popular songs that were recorded by people like Joe Williams and Sarah Vaughan and Astrid Gilberto, many, many others. My mother is Sandy Stewart, a great singer who sang with Benny Goodman, and was on the Perry Como Show, the Mitch Miller Show, Gary Moore Show, Ed Sullivan Show, all types of things that she did. So I gravitated naturally to music. I was just trying to imitate my parents.
Your playing is so beautiful. People talk about jazz as the music of listening, and I have to imagine that's extra important for someone like yourself who's worked with so many incredible musicians, and you've put together so many fantastic collaborations over the years. Listening has got to be big.
Listening is where it's at in everything, not just in playing, but in life. But playing jazz is about listening and communicating and having a conversation with the music.
Live from the TD Comfort Zone at the TD Toronto Jazz Festival, my name is Mark Wigmore, and I'm here with Bill Charlap, and we just heard the great Tony Bennett, and that was a record he did with you. You guys won the Grammy, and that must have just been an incredible year or so for you, sir.
Well, it was wonderful. Of course, it's always wonderful to make music with someone like Tony Bennett, who can access such a profound depth and such a definitive way with the music that he performs.
So a lot of listening with him. I would imagine it's different. When you run your trio here tonight, you're in very much a leadership position, but that's a bit more like, you're really collaborating with Tony when you do a record like that one.
I tell you, it actually is very similar. Whether I'm playing two pianos with Rini Rosnes, my wife, who's of course one of the great jazz pianists in the world and is a fellow Canadian.
Love it.
Yours? Yes, she's from Vancouver, of course. Or playing with Tony Bennett, or playing with Kenny Washington and Peter Washington. We're always reacting to each other, but that's one of the things about Tony that makes him truly a jazz singer. He's kind of a perfect mix of a great bel canto singer, a pop singer, and a jazz singer. And what I think really makes someone a jazz singer, in his case particularly, is that he's always reacting to what his surroundings are. So if I play a chord, or Peter plays a particular bass note, or Kenny comes up with some kind of rhythmic idea, Tony reacts to it, and we're always collaborating together. So we were all listening to each other. So as the trio is 33 1/3, each one of us, when we played quartet with Tony, it was 25% each one of us.
I love it. I love it. What a wonderful image to create. And let's talk about that trio, Peter and Kenny Washington. Why 20 years together? Why has that musical marriage lasted so long?
Chemistry is something that happens instantly. It's when you fall in love with somebody, generally you know it just like that. And generally it's like even having a buddy or one of your best friends. You just catch on like a house on fire. Well, that's how it was when Kenny and Peter and I first played together. In fact, the first album that we made is called All Through the Night for Crisscross, and you can hear the first time that we played together because it's right on that album. That's the first time, and the chemistry was already there. It already sounds like a band. That's the thing. So why do we keep doing it? Well, because like a great marriage, it continues to grow. You continue to both learn from each other and learn about yourself, and you go through various spiritual dynamics together. And I think that keeps it a challenge and keeps it interesting, and It keeps going in an upward spiral.
Let's talk, before I have to let you go, I'll mention that you were a part of the Oscar with Love, a big project that happened last year. Oscar Peterson the Great, of course, compositions were put together, some of them for the first time ever. You were part of the concert. Tell me about your relationship with that man and that experience over the last year.
Well, my relationship with that man is just like all of the other jazz pianists and how we feel about him, which is awe. Oscar Peterson was a musical giant on so many levels, on a technical level, on a depth level, in terms of his innovation. He was a true genius of jazz piano, and his innovations are so profound and so far-reaching that to play Oscar's music is simply an honor, and I think the best way to pay tribute to anyone is to get deep down into yourself. And that's what the other artists did. When Benny Green plays or Kenny Barron plays, Chick Corea, Ramsey Lewis, Renee Rosnes, everybody reaches deep into who they are, and I believe that's one of the things that makes the album so successful. And Kelly Peterson and Celine Peterson put so much love and spiritual energy into the project that it was simply a labor of love for everybody.
Bill Charlap, what a treat. Thank you for being here, and we are coming to you from the TD Comfort Zone at the TD Toronto Jazz Festival. TorontoJazz.com for more info.